So what do you say, Z-Big? You go on spec this time? It's a big one.
I know you clever, and I'm not cheap, since Flax and the old moldy money 20%. And I tell you, the store even got you an escort.
10.
18.
12. 15.
All you really want is a reproduction? That's all you really need?
Give me a break, Z-Big.
Harry will take you to the store. Harry, a fast boy.
That's Harry, huh? What store?
Mitsushiba Corp. Arcology.
Shit. That's the biggest black market operation in the country.
Harry gets you there, you find your own way out. No safety guarantee. Deal?
Okay.
Okay. Sure you don't want to leave a sample? Just in case.
Fuck no. If I don't come back, I don't want a bunch of my tissues hanging around.
Foolish. Your type is always foolish about that.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Have you ever been in an institution? Cells.
Cells.
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells.
Cells.
When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
This causes it. This causes it. This causes it. Information overload. All the electronics around you poisoning the airwaves.
You are listening to the High Tech Low Life podcast, a cyberpunk media retrospective. High Tech Low Life contains language and themes not suitable for all audiences, as well as spoilers for the content being covered. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the High Tech Low Life podcast, everybody. This week, with your hosts Eric and Josh. I'm Eric.
I'm Josh.
Coming at you after one of the most dystopian weeks we've had in a minute, right?
It was a real solid one, and it has just kept fucking rolling on.
I'm afraid what's going to happen between our recording on Sunday and our posting on Wednesday. God, that's so much time that nations could collapse.
I have been paying attention to the Syria situation over the past, it's kind of heated up again a little bit over the past couple of weeks. Did not expect to wake up. Yeah, did not expect to wake up to, Assad's out this morning.
Let's dive into that since it's going to eat up some time, and we don't want to eat it. We don't want to waste money more than we have. Like with my stuttering right now, it's wasting so much fucking time.
Yeah.
But we are. I do want to say, off the top, we're covering Spicy City this week, 1997. Ralph Bakshi anthology animated series on HBO. It was interesting. We'll get to it. But let's talk dystopia for a minute, because there's so much of it. The week kicked off with a little attempted coup in South Korea.
Yes, a little coup d'etat.
That was this week, which is hard to believe.
Yeah, that was Monday morning or Sunday Sunday afternoon or something.
Like that,
I think it was very short
after we recorded, or we would have definitely talked about it. Oh wait, we didn't record last week. Never mind.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I don't have much to say about it other than it seemed like it was pretty ill planned and kind of a bad idea, and the perpetrators of it are gonna not have a good time.
Well, based on kind of what I saw this morning, as the fallout from it continues to happen, it is looking like the coup insider, the president.
Coup insider. Sounds like a dirty joke.
It does.
My brain's like spinning trying to come up with it.
It sounds like it easily could be a punchline.
Yes.
The guy who incited the coup is in fact still the president. And his party has enough votes to where they have so far been and could be able to continue blocking any real consequences for this guy going, hey, these other parties are bad. I want the military under my direct control to execute them or something.
I'm hoping that South Korea has enough experience and historical experience with dictators that they do the right thing and get him out of there, unlike America, which would clearly just let him continue to operate and try again in a couple of years.
Yeah. I saw a number of pretty heartening stories of protesters showing up at Parliament and seeing lines of soldiers that had been called out, none of whom had magazines in their guns or magazines with them.
Yeah.
They were just like standing here with empty guns. Like, I mean, look, we all got to be in the military.
Yeah.
So,
it's just happened to fall on my time. Right.
Yeah. I'm getting the overtime, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. What a weird situation. Moving on from that, a few days later,
a hero for our times, I think is what you're saying.
Pretty high profile assassination in Midtown New York. Hey everyone, this is Eric on the final edit. I wanted to point out that this is recorded on Sunday, December the 8th, so obviously a lot of things have changed since then. Police have an alleged shooter, Luigi Mangione, in custody. You can insert your Italian stereotype and or Super Mario Brothers joke right here. There have been a lot of leaked possible manifestos, YouTube videos, and weird stuff like that I don't think anything's actually been verified as of now. So just be careful what you consume out there and take as fact. And remember, above it all, cops lie. They love to lie. They do it all the time. It's the main thing they do. So good luck out there. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, and I'm going to go on the record saying pretty awesome.
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's hard to think of it as anything but that. I mean, we can talk for days about empathy and people. It's just, I think our energy, our empathic energy is better directed at, the people who this man's job ruined and killed over the years.
That's I saw, and I know that you did as well, a number of people saying effectively like, we shouldn't be celebrating anybody's murder. I mean, this guy had a family, and them basically saying like, where's your empathy for this guy and his family? And my response is that sure, they can have empathy after I the reason I want this guy dead is because I think I have too much empathy for all of the people whose lives he has directly ruined.
His family is going to live better lives than any of us for generations on down, and it's because of the money they've siphoned. They've like vampires sucked out of the lives of sick people.
Yeah.
So I don't think they need the empathy. They're set. They're going to be fine. This is sad for them. They'll get over it.
I saw on, I think it was Bluesky or something like that, where somebody said, I really hope his family isn't shocked by the fact that UHC healthcare does not cover grief counseling. So they're going to have to go out of pocket for it. On the upside, his family will be fine going out of pocket for it.
Yeah, they sure will. The memes have been quite delicious all week long.
Yeah.
Hundreds of them. Rapid fire every day.
Yeah. Every day I get a new one, and then a new favorite, and then an hour later I get another one.
I think if you have empathy for someone like this, I think that's admirable. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's normal to feel bad when somebody gets shot, but I don't think you should lay that guilt on people who don't have empathy, because they have damn good reasons for not having it for this fucking ghoul.
Yeah, I mean, you're certainly allowed to recognize that, this guy was a human with probably good sides and bad sides. But on the other hand, I, you know, I don't see any reason to, on April, oh, I can't remember the date, in April 1945, say, well, I mean, Hitler was really nice to dogs.
Yeah.
He was a real dog lover. That doesn't mean I'm not glad he's fucking dead.
Right.
And I think this is a closer equivalent than it might seem on the surface.
What do you think, if anything, is going to be the reaction to this? I've been thinking about the hitman, the assassin, whatever you want to call him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we need to recap the story. If you're listening to our podcast, I'm sure you know the details, the deny, defend, depose situation and all that stuff. It's awesome. It's like it's out of a Shadowrun fucking adventure module. I was thinking this dude, if he gets caught, he'll be a king in prison, right?
Yeah, because by raw statistics, the people who are in maximum security prisons, almost every fucking one of them has somebody in their family, if not themselves, who has been ass fucked.
Yes.
By the healthcare industry.
Yes, that's why many of them turned to criminal activity in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I mean, I guess there's a chance that he takes himself out or the cops shoot him. There's actually a really good chance that cops shoot him. They love doing that, as we covered on this show. But my thinking here, run with me for a second. We got all these people out there with way too many guns in this country who want to go down in history doing something crazy. They shoot up a school. That's been the big thing. They shoot up schools or they open fire in at a concert or something. Yep. Now they see this hero come and they look at the reaction and they realize this guy is beloved by all. And worst case scenario, he goes to prison where, he's treated like a king by everyone there. Well, maybe instead of shooting up a school, I should just, if I got nothing to lose, I'll just go find, a bad guy to shoot. I'm just saying this could work in our advantage.
Look, everybody, Forbes publishes a list every year. And if you're looking for targets, you might consider picking up a Forbes subscription. Work your way down the list.
This feels borderline like incitement, but
borderline.
We're not encouraging anybody to do this. We're just saying, I understand, as the old Chris Rock bit went. My I don't know, one of my big concerns at this point, and hopefully I really hope this fucking guy just gets away and melts into the world. Yeah, just becomes a legend.
He becomes fucking DB Cooper.
DB Cooper, yeah, that's who it was.
And 50 years from now, somebody, there's a deathbed confession or something.
Yeah.
But I am dreadfully worried that he is going to get caught and it's going to be some sort of milkshake duck scenario where this guy was like, well, yeah, I mean, I hate the healthcare industry, but also black people are bad.
Yeah.
Or something like, I really hope he doesn't tarnish the beautiful legacy that he has at this moment.
Yeah, that would be the bad side. The best case scenario is just him not getting caught, and then the legend,
Yeah.
It's so much more powerful than the reality.
Yeah, I mean, him becoming a DB Cooper is much more inspiring than it would be if, a couple of years from now, he gets picked up for some random thing and they DNA sample, blah, blah, blah. And like, oh, this guy who drove with an expired plate was,
We'll see. It's still kind of unfolding. Maybe even by the time this comes out, we'll know. Hopefully not.
I mean, he seems to have done a very good job so far. Like everything I've seen on my end, he was bright and had thought it through. Like,
well, it just shows like how like the cops, how inept the fucking police, the NYPD is, and every police force, honestly.
I mean,
like
especially
the biggest police forces, the biggest armed forces in the world.
Yeah. NYPD has, I don't know, it's been years since I saw statistics, but they have, money-wise, they have more money than any other police force in this country and subsequently in the world because, we love us spending money on cops. And they are completely confounded by the fact that a guy wore a mask and took a bus.
Yeah, dude. Like, really, I think, and I've seen this on Bluesky quite a bit too, but like propaganda is like, they talk about the thin blue line. This is like the thin line that keeps the people of America realizing that these guys have no real abilities to do anything other than harass the poor.
Yeah. Oh God, that fucking reminds me of another local cop news.
That's good shit too.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Yeah.
So much.
Big week. The thing that most people don't realize, which if you're interested in crime, and I don't mean that in the sense of like true crime, that kind of voyeuristic true crime shit.
Yeah.
That police inevitably and always have absolutely like ridiculously bad clearance rates for serious crimes, and even worse for, not serious crimes.
Well, yeah, they most of the time don't even bother.
Yeah, and
as you know.
Yes, as I am aware. They have absolutely abysmal fucking clearance rates. Like a good clearance rate for a like good sized police department in, a city with a number of murders might be 20%. They solve, quote marks, 20% of murders.
And these are pretty obvious ones that,
the vast majority of those murders are like, well, we found her husband standing over her body with the bloody knife in his hand and he was still stabbing her.
Yeah.
Or, we caught Eric down the road because he was speeding with a gun hanging out his window while Josh's dead body was on the street with bullet holes in it.
I was doing that, but I did. Your dead body was a completely different reason, and you know it.
Yes, I know, but that's the type of crimes that police, quote marks, solve.
Yeah. No, it's very true. And also, I don't know if it's going to bring something to light. It won't, because people are stupid. But the fact that how much of their resources they are putting towards this murder, when people are killed in New York every single fucking day, multiple people sometimes every day, they don't do shit.
Yep.
This rich white guy gets the full might of the NYPD. It's telling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just really evidence for what everybody always says, that the police are only there to protect capital. They're not there to protect you. They won't protect you. They're not constitutionally required to protect you.
Yes. Yeah. And speaking of bad police,
wait, one more quick thing on the shooter front before we move on to bad police.
Honestly, do we even need to talk about Spicy City this week? Let's just talk dystopia the whole fucking
We could fucking do a whole 90 minutes on it. I just wanted to point out how fucking hilarious it was that 2 days after the shooting, one day, Elon Musk has to make a public appearance, and suddenly, for the first time ever, we see his child riding on his shoulders.
Yeah.
That is so fucking weird and gross.
We got him running scared, folks.
Dude, and what also tells me is that they know, Elon Musk knows in his heart that the person who shot the United Healthcare dude is a moral person, because a moral person, an immoral person wouldn't care if he shot Elon's kid.
Yep.
But a moral person would see that as a human shield and not take the shot. And that's it. He fucking knows. He knows he's the bad guy. He knows this, whatever.
So what you're saying in this instance is that the guy who shot the UHC CEO is more moral than the Israeli army.
Well,
Or at least you think he is.
Elon thinks he is. Elon thinks he's moral enough to not shoot the human shield, whereas the Israeli army is like, they're using them as human shields. We got to shoot our way through these shields so we can get to the Hamas. It's a really thick shield. I really just got to keep shooting. It's gross. Oof. I hate it.
Very gross. Speaking of gross.
Yes, go to the final. Nope. Because I feel like we should talk about Assad. It just happened, but we don't have a whole lot of info yet. But
okay. Yeah. This week, and this is not a story that I don't think it has made much national news.
No, not really.
Over the past several years. And it's made like little kind of, blips, especially in the black media ecosphere.
Yeah.
Over the course of the past few years.
And then the far left ACAB media sphere too.
Yeah, that too. There was, in the place where we both live, Kansas City, Kansas, there was for 20 years a detective who was named Roger Golubsky. He made a full career out of vigorously sexually assaulting and sexually harassing and robbing and probably murdering.
The Bad Lieutenant cop.
Yeah. Especially in the black community in Kansas City, Kansas. He made a career of this. It was notable local gossip that that people were saying avoid having anything to do with this guy because he was on fucking gang task forces and all sorts of shit. Like if you avoid having anything to do with him because it's going to turn into a literal years-long thing where you're going to have to keep fucking this fat piece of shit racist white cop to keep your son from getting picked up for being truant or riding his bike on the wrong side of the street or whatever. So a couple of years ago, charges were finally filed after many years of the community attempting to get people, to get him fucking fired and charged with crimes and stuff. And so he was about to go on trial for, I think this trial was for something like 13 counts of various bad shit.
Yeah.
Civil rights violations, stuff like that. It's been recognized as it is the smallest drop in the bucket of shit they could, try him for, but it's what the evidence they were able to put together. And there was a lot of people, journalists and Jay-Z, his Rock Nation organization, did a lot of fundraising for developing evidence towards this what had been an upcoming trial. So that was supposed to start Monday. And Monday morning, I woke up to the news that he had not appeared for his court date at like 9:00. They went to his house and found that he had blown his brains out on the back porch. And hooray.
Yeah, I was trying to insert some noisemaker sounds here. He, did a heroic act as his final one. Yep. Got a bad cop off the streets.
Yeah. But downside, we aren't going to get a trial, which means that there is not going to be a whole lot of investigation into how much was being covered up for him.
What his colleagues knew, what the department knew and did. Yeah, that's
because absolutely everybody fucking knew. I mean,
Are we sure it was a suicide? Could it have been an Epstein situation?
I mean, could be. I don't see why not.
Don't know. Haven't seen any of the evidence, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, they as yet have not even confirmed that he ate his bullet. There have been some remarks by officials about how basically. We don't even know how he was able to get a gun,
Yeah.
which is the most ridiculous
The
goddamn thing
stupidest
I
thing
have
I've
ever
heard
heard of. Anyway, his name was Roger Golubsky, and I'm glad he is dead.
Yes.
Um,
Good. Kind of a good week for
Yeah.
dead scumbags.
Yep, it really is.
If only Assad had been killed by rebels, but
Well, on the upside, he, based on the news I saw shortly before we started recording, he might be dead.
Really?
The Russian plane that it was assumed he was leaving the country on, disappeared from radar shortly after takeoff.
Oh, wow.
And historically, Putin, there have been a lot of plane crashes involving people he is unhappy with,
Yeah. That seems to
or
happen.
people who
He has the power.
disappointed him. Yeah. So, he might pop up in a few hours somewhere, but it's also possible he might not.
I haven't followed the Syrian conflict as much as I would like to.
It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely I've heard some podcasts talk about it over the years. I know Assad is a bastard, so I'm sure our new spy mistress Tulsi Gabbard is having a super sad today. She was a big fan of his, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But this, I'm guessing this is good.
I would broadly say feeling vaguely positive about it.
I mean, getting him out of power is good.
Yeah.
Let's just hope the power vacuum isn't filled by someone worse.
Yeah, the Syrian conflict is a real fucking complex set of actors and people involved in every fucking aspect of it. It's not Assad versus a resistance force.
Yeah, it's not Empire versus
Assad,
Rebel Alliance.
It's Assad versus, like, I don't know, 8 completely separate who hate each other or like vaguely tolerate each other resistance forces. And I have not been paying close enough attention to have a good idea of who is in the best position to take power at all. And I mean, some of those guys, some of the guys who are fighting in Syria are like real good guys. Like they are the anarchist.
Yeah.
It's very much
is YPG. That's a acronym that comes to mind.
Yeah, that's the Kurdish. God, what does that stand for?
I'm Googling it. I can't remember.
Anyway, it's
People's
very
defense
much
units.
It's very much a Spanish Civil War situation where you have the government who are the bad guys and then a whole bunch of people who are fighting against them, except this time the rebels won, and who's going to come out on top is anybody's fucking guess.
Yeah. It's scary and up in the air, but you know what? Getting rid of that guy is...
It's a step in the right
direction. Exactly. Another thing I saw on Bluesky, people are talking about, they're watching the news, trying to find news on it. And like the only place you can find it is on like BBC or Al Jazeera. There's no fucking news on it on American outlets.
Sure. Nobody cares.
Nobody fucking cares. Fuck this country. Okay.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun. It's actually been pretty uplifting dystopia talk, you gotta admit.
It honestly has. I mean, for dystopia talk, there were a couple of pretty, like, what seemed to be pretty solid wins.
Yeah. I'm not even sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sad for South Koreans, but it looks like they might have it in hand. We'll see. Remains to be seen.
I mean, it could have gone worse.
Could have gone a lot worse. We're 30 minutes in. We still have to do recommendos. Can we do them very quickly?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You do one of yours.
Okay. Number one, Caves of Could.
Oh, the video game.
Yeah. First new video game that I have played.
Yeah, Josh doing a video game recommendo is
since Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Fun game. Reminds me of the games of my youth.
It's been like I bought it a long time ago. I played quite a bit and I was enjoying it. But I'm like, I need to really focus. Like that game, I can tell you can go deep if you want to. So I've put it aside, and it's like I'm going to get back to this, and I'm going to play this, and it just finally actually went to full release.
Yeah, 1.0 came out Friday.
So I'm like, it might be the time, but unfortunately, as that happened, I got back into Balatro super hardcore again. So, yeah, I'm excited to try Caves of Cud one more time.
Also, even if this is not necessarily evident from the art or the title of the game, it is kind of cyberpunk. You can get fucking cyberpunk.
Very cyberpunk.
You can come out of an arcology.
Shit, maybe we should do an episode on it.
Oh boy, I don't know how we do an
I don't
episode
either.
about a randomly procedurally generated game.
Well, it does have a storyline you can follow from beginning to end.
Yeah.
You can get like body modifications and stuff. It's more post-apocalyptic cyberpunk, but
yeah,
I'd forgotten that. That's a good point.
Yeah, so it's on Steam, and it is a video game that you can play even if your desktop computer is 12 years old at this point, and or on a laptop that is business focused and not gaming focused. So
just realize it's not a game that's going to spoon feed you how to play it. You got to learn the hard way, and you're going to have to figure it out.
Yes, it is a roguelike, if the audience is familiar with that. Which was
roguelike.
What very specifically made me download it.
Yeah. My recommendo is also something we could probably shoehorn it in. Is I watched The Substance. Have you seen that yet?
Yes. Yeah, a month or so ago.
Did you recommend it? I can't remember it.
I don't think I did. I think we
probably were busy.
I think I had 3 recommendos that week or something, and we were like, "Oh, let's get on to the content."
I really liked that movie, a lot actually. It was weird and gross in all the right ways. I thought Demi Moore was really good. Dennis Quaid, even though he's kind of a bastard, was completely unbearably disgusting.
President Ronald Reagan?
Yes, that's what I mean. He was bad in the perfect ways, and I enjoyed that movie a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was very good. I think I didn't like it quite as much as a lot of people seem to.
Yeah,
but just like, and it was simply a matter of degrees. Like, oh, okay, I can totally see how this movie is hitting hard for a lot of people, and it's just not quite tripping those switches for me. But yeah, good movie.
Yeah,
recommend it.
It is heavy on the body horror. I watched it with my wife, and she had to cover her face a couple times because it doesn't pull punches. But once you've watched some of the shit we've watched on this show, you kind of get immune to it.
Anyway, Burst City rewatch next week.
Sort of. What we're watching next week has a lot more in Burst City, a lot more in common with Burst City than you might think immediately.
It really does. Yeah.
A lot of screaming.
Yeah, lots of screaming. My second recommendo ties pretty directly to my first one. I am rewatching the AMC television show Halt and Catch Fire.
Oh yeah, you've updated a little bit on that.
Which is a I don't know. I think it could stand well as a precursor to any sort of cyberpunk set in the computer industry of the 1980s and 90s. And the reason it's the reason that I downloaded Caves of Cud.
Oh, really?
At one point in like the first season, maybe the second season, probably the first season, somebody is playing Rogue.
Oh, nice.
On screen. And I was like, man, I haven't played Rogue for like 30 years. I should play Rogue. So I found a place online that has like Rogue as a browser game.
Awesome.
And played some Rogue. And then like 2 days later, I saw somebody on the Discord post about Caves of Cud is exiting beta finally or whatever. Yeah. And it's like Rogue. And I was like, fuck it. Why not?
It's definitely an updated version of Rogue for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, *Halt and Catch Fire*, great, a really incredible human drama show. Highly recommend it. Stars Lee Pace, Carrie Bechet. Oh, what is her name? Mackenzie Davis, who was a Terminator in, I think it was the most recent Terminator movie. I can't keep track of which movie is which. And Scoot McNairy, one of my favorite actors.
Love Scoot.
We love Scoot, and also one of my guys for 30 years now, Toby Huss.
That's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Yeah, he was on Carnival.
Oh yeah, of course. He wasn't he the dad in 6 Feet Under, the ghost?
No, that's Richard Jenkins.
All right, I get them confused.
Yeah. No, Toby Huss was Artie, the strongest man in the world, on Pete and Pete.
Oh, yeah.
And he was also on many MTV promos of the early 1990s. Some of them, he was doing a like Sinatra lounge singer impression. He was also a like short order cook.
Yeah.
He is a very weird, funny guy who is also an incredible dramatic actor.
Yeah. One of my favorites on Carnival.
Yeah. He was so fucking good on Carnival.
Which I've been meaning to rewatch for the last 20 years.
Yeah. It's like 3 weeks ago, it popped into my mind for some reason, and it went on my short list of a couple of weeks. I'm going to fire that up.
All right. We're going to have some very angry YouTube comments.
Yeah, we are.
But I got one more plug. It's important. It's probably the most important of all our plugs. I could put it at the end. Maybe I will put it at the end as well. But,
yes, good.
I want to plug Sean Faust's single Status Quo Radio, streaming on Spotify. Obviously, we want you to buy it on Bandcamp, but we also want you to stream it on Spotify because he's a few streams short of hitting like the minimum to get paid, and we want our boy to get his bag.
Yes, absolutely. I sat through, I don't know how much Spotify, trying to listen to it again and again.
Yeah, he said that he thinks only one stream per day counts, which is kind of bullshit if true. But whatever the case, go stream Status Quo Radio. Stream it a lot. It's a great song. You won't be disappointed. And help our boy get his money.
Yeah, Sean Faust, SeanFaust.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let's talk about Spicy City, you think?
I guess.
Okay. 40 minutes in. Good job, us.
Yeah.
We can't help it. Like, two revolutions and an assassination happened.
Yeah, I think our fucking recommendo section was maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, we did that quick.
Yeah. Believe me, I could go on about fucking Halt and Catch Fire for much longer.
Yeah, same. We could probably do a whole episode on Caves of Cud, as we've mentioned. We've only got like a cumulative 20 hours in it or so.
Yeah.
Anyway, Spicy City. Let's do it.
Okay. Spicy City, a 1997 HBO anthology animated program. Created by, primarily written by, I guess, Ralph Bakshi, starring Michelle Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas. And she is the, I don't know, Rod Sterling or Alfred Hitchcock of this anthology show. But
she's also kind of involved in the stories a little.
Yeah, especially the final episode. This aired in the summer of 97, and I don't know about you, I remember at least the commercials, like the HBO commercials for this show.
I don't, honestly.
And I am certain I saw at least like one or two of the episodes, but simply because I'd like see something on the screen and go, oh yeah, I remember that.
If this had come out in 95 or 6, I probably would have watched the whole thing because I was still at home. My parents had HBO. Like, that was like the one splurge they had, was we had HBO. And but 97, I was not watching much TV.
Yeah, I think if I watched this, it was because like some other HBO things at the time. Like I think this was around the time the Spawn animated series was on and stuff like that. And
actually, probably I read somewhere that this beat South Park to air by a couple months.
I believe that. Yeah,
it's considered the first like really adult cartoon because of that.
Oh, yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah, Spawn cartoon was in '98.
Really? Huh, okay.
Maybe.
Anyway, it would have been at a time where I wasn't watching it live by any means, but I had a VCR and was capable of.
It was in '97 as well. Now that I'm looking at it, sorry, I interrupt you.
Yeah.
Just don't want to give incorrect information and get yelled at.
Yeah. So like, and I honestly don't know. I might have watched the whole fucking thing and it just went out of my brain.
Well, there's
because
not a lot of depth to
it. Like I don't know, man. I found like this show should be exactly up my fucking alley, but it does not work. Like almost none of it worked for me. Like I would get to points and be like, oh yeah, this is kind of all right. And then it'd be immediately washed away by some more shit.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like some of the episodes worked much better than others.
Yeah.
And a couple of them I liked. Some of them were fine, and then some of them I actively disliked.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I see why it only ran one season.
Yeah, and even the stuff that I liked was, I guess, undercooked. Like it could have used another draft or two.
The final episode was pretty.
Final episode was pretty cool. Although, again, I think that could have used another draft to clean it up. I think
it does feel like the scripts feel rushed. The animation is okay for the most part. But the scripts do feel like there's just not much depth to the stories. They're all pretty. I don't know.
According to Wikipedia, a second season was approved, but the network wanted to fire Bakshi's writing team and hire professional Los Angeles screenwriters. When Bakshi refused to cooperate with the network, the series was canceled. Which I think hiring professional screenwriters probably would have helped a lot.
It helped a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about like what was coming out around then. Not necessarily just in the sci-fi cyberpunk genre, but like the late 90s was good time for storytelling. Like fucking Pulp Fiction and stuff was coming out around this. I mean, it's a little earlier than that, but you get what I'm saying. These are very basic ass stories. And like I would say they're just like porno excuses for nudity and stuff, but it's not even that dirty.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of titties. Like,
yeah, I think that's kind of one of my problems with it is that it's,
if you're going to be porn, be porn.
Yeah, I think, and it's kind of one of my regular problems with, or at least one of the things I'm not a big fan of in terms of Ralph Bakshi's work.
Mm-hmm. His Bakshi catalog.
The Bakshi catalog. I think he is one of these guys who is in animation. And similarly, there are people the same way in puppetry and stuff like that, where they think, and not incorrectly, that, America has a real problem like accepting that animation or puppetry or whatever can be for adults. Yeah. So what I want to do is make animation, puppetry, whatever, for adults. And the way I'm going to do that is have just a story that has tits in it. Yeah. And that means it's for adults. And I think a lot of that really doesn't play to the strengths of what you can do with animation.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of, it had been known in Japan for a very long time. But it was kind of figured out in America not long after. Maybe shit like this was needed to kick the door open. I don't know, but it doesn't. doesn't really stand on its own super well. It's not to say it's not like terrible.
Yeah, and similarly, what was his rock and roll movie? American Pop. Like that movie is kind of neat. On the other hand, he's not doing a lot with it that, like, if it was just a regular movie, you'd be like, okay, sure. The fact that it's animation makes you go, okay, sure. It's sort of a tone worth of difference.
Also, I think we can both agree there's, as much as he likes nude ladies, there's not nearly enough titties in his version of The Hobbit.
Also true.
Let's get some Hobbit titties.
I do, his fucking rotoscoped Hobbit is cool. I mean,
I liked it as a kid.
Yeah, he made some really cool stuff. But I think the times, at least the stuff of his that I've seen, the cool stuff is when he is kind of constrained. It's not him writing and conceiving and animating and,
and apparently writing it with his stoned buddies instead of professional Hollywood writers.
Yeah, I actually just looked through the writing staff on this show, and I think two of the writers have, all the writers have this as a credit, obviously. Two of them have one other thing credited, and then one of them has another half dozen shows or so. But most of them have only this.
Yeah, that would explain a lot, actually. That was most of what I didn't like about it, was just how uninspiring the stories were.
Yeah.
We should probably get into actually recapping them.
Okay.
I will say it started off strong. The first one,
it's a good start. It makes me think, oh, this show's going to be really good. It starts off with either the most or the second most cyberpunk of the stories.
It's very cyberpunk. There's no,
and it's a good use of what you can do with animation that you can't with human actors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's let's see, I didn't see, since the thing that I watched this on didn't have episode titles on it. I wrote my own episode titles for my recaps, but I do now see that there are episode titles. This one is Love is a Download. I titled it Avatars in Love.
Pretty close. Pretty fucking close.
Yeah. So a guy falls in love with a girl online, and then he gets hired by her shitty criminal boyfriend to track her down and make her a vegetable by killing her avatar, and then they become ghosts in the machine together. And the bad guy wins?
No. Well, sort of. The bad guy
gets away with it?
Just kind of... Yeah, gets away with it, and his life is unchanged. But they find love in the machine.
Yeah.
They both hated their lives. Yeah. She's a super hot prostitute,
kept woman,
from what I can tell. Kept woman, yeah. And he's a big, ugly guy with a pretty neat looking cyber arm.
A disabled war vet.
Yeah. Yeah, man, this story, the world building started strong on this. I was like, I love this little online world. This is what we thought the internet was going to be like in 1997 for sure.
Yeah, it does some nice effects in switching the animation. You can distinctly tell when the characters are in VR as opposed to their reality.
Also felt very Snow Crash to me as I was
I
watching. I
see
thought
that.
They're cribbing from Neil Stephenson pretty hard in this episode in a way that I liked. I didn't like the way it was animated when they were in the virtual world. Was very low frame rate. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that? That was kind of disconcerting.
I think that was an intentional bit of, hey, we're trying to make this look different from the other animation.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know how well it worked.
Yeah. This is one of the stronger episodes. And maybe, I don't know. It's, in my mind, this one and the final episode are in a fight for the best episode. And I would agree. I think maybe I like this one better.
I'm not sure,
but I don't know. And it's another one that it's the first one where looking back on the episode, you go, yeah, they could have used a rewrite. Like,
Yeah.
Could have used another draft to establish why the shitty criminal boyfriend is able to take this disc and suddenly whoop this guy who lives his entire existence online's ass.
Yes, that is true. They made him out like an elite hacksaw, and he gets rolled by this weird gangster dude.
Yeah.
Although the shark avatar is pretty sick.
The shark avatar was very cool.
Yeah, I agree that those two are up there. I kind of liked the last one a little more, just because it was a little more high mind. Like it had more. It was trying to do than
it
this.
Definitely had more ideas.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's if you're gonna watch one, if you're gonna pick one episode to watch, either this one or the last one.
Yeah, Love Is a Download is a pretty solid one. There's plenty of nudity in it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, you'll see some boobs.
You'll see cartoon boobies.
And yeah. Now, moving on to the next one, I think pretty inarguably the worst.
Oh, by a huge
of what this series had to offer.
It's very bad. I titled it "Roman Hands and Russian Fingers."
It's called Mono's Hands, your title much better.
So hands.
Yeah, hands.
Yep. Monos, the hands of fate's hands.
I don't even feel like spending much time on it. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's not. I guess it's supposed to be like the comic relief one, but it wasn't funny.
Yes. My summary was Desi Arnaz owes money to the mob, gets his hands cut off. Those hands run around fingering people and causing chaos, and it turns out he had a voodoo blessing at birth, so his hands are haunted? I don't know, whatever.
Can hypnotize. They don't really give any details of what's happening.
No, and there are some pretty fucked up and uncomfortable stereotypes in the animation in this one. That were also unacceptable in 1997, or at least were also questionable in 1997. Which is not a surprise given one of the other Ralph Bakshi things I've seen, which is a movie called Coonskin, which is, it's a good movie, but you need to go into it understanding very specifically that it's like it's like the 30 Rock blackface sketch where it is clear that they are making fun of the concept basically saying, holy shit, this was a thing in American society. It is bad that this was a thing, but they are using the thing to...
and they're probably all white people using the thing?
Yes, exactly. Although Bakshi does not think of himself as a white guy.
Okay.
He is a Lebanese Christian, and for some amount of time when he was a kid, he and his family lived in an all-black neighborhood in Washington. So he went to a black school with all the... because schools are still segregated, obviously. And his only friends and everybody was black around him, so he doesn't think of himself as a white guy.
Well, there were a lot of Latinos in this particular episode, and I'm just looking through the IMDb cast list.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing a lot of Latino names.
Yeah, I believe that.
There's one. Margot apparently was played by Tasia Valenza.
Sure.
So,
It's woof.
It's a woof.
Yeah.
Even if
you can ignore that entirely, the episode just
it's a bad
sucks.
story. Yeah. I hated it.
Yeah, not good. It was an immediate come down. Within, and you knew, okay, we ended the Avatars in Love episode, and you're like, okay, all right. And then within 2 minutes of the next episode starting, you're like, oh, fuck, this is bad, right?
Yeah. Because I thought after the first one, I'm like, if this is like a mid-tier of what they have to offer, this will be pretty good. Yeah. No, this is the best they have to offer, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I guess let's move on to the third one. I don't really feel like talking about it.
Yeah, I don't either. And I don't think there's anything worth talking about with it. So Episode 3, I didn't actually title this one. What was it called?
This one's titled Tears of a Clone. I remember I saw that one. Yep.
So yeah, this one is a very much hard-boiled noir detective thing. The main character.
This one, I liked some of the world building.
Yeah, this had some good stuff in it. Yeah, the main character is modeled after like a Looney Tunes version of, I think, Jack Palance.
Yeah,
like with the squinty eyes and the fucking, curved down boxer's nose.
Yeah,
and he's got kind of a Burt Lancaster voice. I think it's the most consciously film noir one of them, even though a lot of this series just takes like film noir and 30s and 40s movie plots and throws them at animation. So the main character gets hired by...
Throws them at animation.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
Animation's like, stop throwing this shit at me.
Yeah. So the main character, a guy named Lo, who's a private investigator, gets hired by a rich guy to find his, quote, daughter, who has been kidnapped. And it's like, I don't know, it's a pretty basic thing. He goes to, he tries to find where she is. Turns out the film noir plot of this is not that, like, see, normally in a twisty film noir, you would find out that, oh, she actually ran away from him, or he had killed her and was just hiring him as hiring the detective as cover or something.
Yeah.
This one, it turns out that she got kidnapped by, I can't remember what they called them. Gene grinders? Is that right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Who clone her. And this one has a bunch of cool world building because he goes down into like a Warhammer 40K Undercity.
Yeah, and he meets a fast boy, they called him.
Larry? Or something
Larry,
like that?
Frank,
yeah,
something
Larry.
like that. I can't remember the name, but my favorite character in the series, if I'm
fair.
being real, because he's just this little...
I also really liked the doctor / bartender guy in this one.
Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah.
Like at the Gene bar.
Yeah, I don't know what else you'd call it. Yeah.
There was some fun world building in this one for sure, which is what made a lot of the horrific female objectification harder to get through.
Yeah. So yeah, he and this Larry guy, he basically break into the Mitsushiba Corp arcology. And they find out, yes, she's been cloned. Also, it's based on the stuff that he reads in the car earlier than that. I think she was also initially a clone.
Yeah, it's so fucking
again
muddled.
It's muddled because they need another fucking rewrite.
Yeah,
but they they fight fucking mutants and all sorts of crazy shit. And end up in a storage space with a ton of clones. And the detective guy shows how fucking hardcore he is by shooting Larry. And just
not sure why.
because they were about to get caught because security was on the way. And
but why did he have to shoot Larry?
Because he didn't.
Could just left Larry.
Because Larry might have gotten captured and given his name. I don't know, man.
Okay.
We have to show how hardcore he is. And how he is a heartless monster who is no better than the heartless monster rich man who looks like a turtle.
And Larry, for his part, I fucking blanked on what I was going to say. Shit. I had a point and it left my brain.
Larry is trying to free Melissa, the girl who got kidnapped.
Right. He's trying to do the job.
Yeah, he's trying to do the job. They are about to get caught. Lo, the detective, decides instead of letting Larry finish the unhooking the woman who got cloned, he will shoot Larry and just take one of the clones and then say she got her brain wiped
All right, this one has the robot driver
Yeah.
too. I liked him too.
Yeah. And yeah, he ends up telling the client that Melissa's brain was wiped, but this is her, and he gets away with it.
Sort of, but he's got to live with the guilt.
Yeah. Except he got a lot of money, and he doesn't seem to give a shit.
Well, when they cut back to him don't they cut back to him in the bar and he's like 4 drinks deep, knocking over martini glasses, making it appear as if he's guilty for what he did to, it's actually Harry. I just looked it up. Harry and Melissa.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
And then who knows what fucking weird things the rich guy was going to do with the unconscious girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's got a bunch of cool world building. Like, it's the type of thing where if they had just made that a fucking movie, like if it had been a, hour and a half long thing, they could have filled it out and made it make more sense. And it would have been really cool. Yeah. As it stands, it's like, it's fine.
Yeah. I wouldn't like if this was a good series, this would still be, you could still fit this in. It just would be one of the weaker ones. I think they'd made some really cool characters in this, and that's what's completely carrying it because the story is dumb. And yeah.
Okay, so episode 4, which I titled Attempted Eon Flux.
It's actually titled An Eye for an Eye.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
I'm not remembering what this one is.
Okay, this is the one where...
Oh, yeah. This one.
There's this dirty lady cop named Margot, and she sets up a woman who is seemingly her lover and also an arms, in both senses, dealer. And the cop lady's partner, his name is Ernie, hates her guts because she is a very dirty cop and getting away with all sorts of shit. And like he finds out she's probably stolen a bunch of money that was evidence and stuff like that. And she gets away with everything. She cons Ernie into helping her surveil a judge to get some blackmail material.
Which that isn't clear that's what's happening because it looks like she just like came up, whatever. Yeah. The way they represent things with the animation isn't always clear what's going on.
Yeah. So then he ends up stealing the tape of the blackmail material and like tries to go to his boss, but she's gotten to him ? And then Margot goes to Ernie's apartment and like tortures his wife to get the tape. And he's also like
his wife, who is basically just a talking sex doll.
Pretty much, it seems like. Yeah.
They do not build the romance of that couple very much.
No, he's also 2 weeks from retirement.
Yes, of course he is.
And he shows up before she gets the information and kills the wife. And she states very explicitly, no, when we're done, I'm going to leave and you're going to be dead. So he shows up and saves his wife like in time, except for the fact that he's like, wait a minute. I have her gun. I have Margot's gun here. I'll shoot my wife and it'll be evident that. So basically it's a classic like film noir crime thing of,
is that what happened?
We can't catch her. We can't catch them for things they've done. So let's set them up for something we can that they don't do.
Goddamn, I did not see. I was thinking the whole time because when she later gets arrested and goes to court and she's exclaiming that she didn't kill the woman. And you know how they make it obvious in TV shows when somebody's lying and telling the truth, oftentimes. Yeah. It seems very sincere that she's saying it in such a way that the audience should agree with her. And I'm like, but that's not what I saw from the end. I saw them wrestling with the gun and the gun got pointed at the wife and the wife died. And like you said, a few minutes earlier, she said she was going to kill her. So I assumed Margot was killing her. And
Ernie flashes back closer to the end of the episode and you see from his POV when he shoots his wife.
Oh, guess I missed that. I don't know.
It was like a blink and miss thing. Again, should have had a good writer in the room. And so where was I? Oh yeah. So then she gets sent to prison for death by dissection, and there's some
Her ex-partner's in there and beats her up a little
beats
bit.
her up a little bit, and then she gets dissected, and the judge, who's nearsighted, gets her eyes, and that's a punchline.
Yeah.
All right.
Because, yeah, I don't know. With the exception of episode 2, most of these could have been good stories. Like,
yeah.
if they'd had the writers. Episode 2 is trash.
Yeah.
There's no saving it.
No, there really isn't. It's just goofy, dumb bullshit. Okay, episode 5. Can anybody love a machine?
Is that what you named it?
I think this might be the point where I actually... Yes, apparently.
Oh, because
I think that
IMDb has it named Sex Drive.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I think that's a line that Raven says in her little introduction of the episode. Can anybody love a machine?
Okay.
So, okay, we've got this fucking virtual fucking sex bar, which was one of the main things I remembered from the promos. It's like this club that's shaped like a sexy lady with her hands up over her head and she's naked.
Yeah.
And you enter...
Like the entrance is through her crotch.
Yeah, it's fun. It's hilarious. And there's a real-life sex worker who's trying to catch clients in there, and she's animated to look like Brigitte Nielsen.
See, when this started, I'm like, oh shit, they're going to talk about some relevant topics.
Yeah.
This woman is totally being run out of the workforce by AI and automation. We're going to hit on some real world shit.
Uh-huh.
No, not really.
No, not at all. And then, I don't know. This one's... Okay, so she's one of the main characters. Her name is Virus, which is helpful. And
that's
normal.
Makes it so fucking confusing.
Yeah. And the other main character is a girl named Nisa Lolita.
Yeah. That's what her name is. And guess how she's drawn?
Yeah. Yeah.
And voiced.
Uh-huh.
By Elizabeth Daily, by the way, who was Dottie in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, wow. Okay. Huh. Interesting. I didn't recognize like any of the fucking like names of voice people. Other than
not really.
Other than Michelle Phillips. There's she works at the police station and also drives a cab. I'm not exactly sure what the situation is there. Anyway, so there are some dirty cops. They're trying to shake down the main character, Virus, for protection. Classic bit. And they beat the shit out of her, and Nisa tapes it. And then the main character, Virus, gets kidnapped by one of the strangers from Dark City.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. Only
except it's going to
very
become
caricaturally
it's going to become
Asian.
worse. Yes. So then Nisa is like, the tape gets destroyed and the cops are chasing after her, and they know she taped them beating up her. And also in the background, sort of, it should have been foregrounded some more. There have been a bunch of prostitute disappearances. And these are the cops that are investigating them, but they aren't because they're too busy being dirty cops. And then we cut back to the sex club, and there is some very gross shit involving some serious stereotyping. I'll just say the words Pocahontas.
Yeah.
Pocahontas.
Yeah. This episode was pretty bad.
Yeah. So that Pocahontas is a virtual Native American character who is a whore.
Yeah.
And
she's only there. She's only on screen long enough to get groped.
Yeah, it's cool. And then Virus shows up with like these weird blank eyes, and she kidnaps like the tech guy who's one of the founders of the company, and take off in Nisa's cab. And she, I thought killed him, but it turns out she just like sucked his fucking mind out with a taser under her tongue? ? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It's a brain sucking tongue thing.
So then we go and we meet the stranger character meeting with this guy's partner, and it turns out that once you start giving the character lines, it turns into a grotesque caricature of a 1940s crafty Oriental who is luring white women into prostitution with squinty eyes, and his name is Otaka.
Yeah.
And it is gross.
It's not cool.
Not cool at all. And turns out that this guy sells the virtual sex constructs to the sex club. And basically the whole thing is we find out he's been kidnapping prostitutes, wiping their minds, selling their minds on discs to the sex club, and he is trying to take over the sex club and become a rich and powerful man. And that's like the big meta plot. And then there's also Nisa is following him and that plot. And
Hey, actually, sorry not to interrupt, but I just got to it. Otaka is played by a Japanese man.
oh shit! All right, that's a surprise.
Michael Yama.
Okay, well, good for him getting that work.
He was in Dumb and Dumber 2.
Oh, all right.
And Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He was a Chinese co-pilot, so maybe he's not Japanese.
Okay.
I guess nobody in Hollywood cared back then.
Yeah.
But it the drawing is like, you can be forgiven for thinking it's a caricature because the drawing so obviously is.
There is a reason that I said like, I don't remember what exactly I said, shifty, sneaky Oriental, because Japanese, Chinese, dirty knees, look at these. They're all the same in terms of 1930s and 40s Hollywood.
Yeah. It's it's super cool. We love it. It's definitely not hard to talk about on a podcast.
Yeah, I feel really good talking about all of this. So let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, so Nisa videotaped the guy getting the other partner getting turned into a fucking vegetable and his personality ripped out, whatever. And then there's some hot lesbian stuff with Virus and Nisa.
Yeah, so how old is Nisa supposed to be?
I guess,
even, quote, barely legal, unquote.
Yeah.
She could work for the cops, but they really play her up like a child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's dressed like a child. She's got freckles.
Yeah.
Her voice is very childlike.
Yeah, she's very much a kid sidekick character
who has lesbian sex with a prostitute.
Yeah. Oh, also there is a really fun taxi dispatcher character who shockingly speaks with a thick Indian accent.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great. So anyway, it turns out, this whole plot, and all the prostitutes have now been turned into sex bots, and they can get their personalities back if you like stick the chip in them somehow. I don't know, whatever.
God, the fucking story on this one is so bad too.
And it's so overcomplicated. And
one corporation makes really good sex bots, but can't get the personalities, and then this Japanese guy is really good at stealing personalities, but he can't make the flesh.
Yeah.
And fucking stupid.
Yeah. So anyway, Nisa ends up delivering the tape of all that she's seen to the police commissioner, and the bad guys lose, and Otaka gets killed by the sex worker bots once he goes back to his underground lair. And then Nisa and Virus are detective partners, and they make out and do some light over the clothes fingering.
Yeah, and they wear very short skirts and very low cut police, like a sexy policewoman outfit for Halloween.
Yeah, and the episode ends.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Now the last one, which is kind of the most applicable in terms of reality. So this is the episode where Raven is the star. And I did not title this one. What's this one actually called?
This one's titled Raven's Revenge.
Ooh, all right. Raven is a character voiced by Michelle Phillips. Did I say that? She's a fucking...
Yeah, we glossed over her, but she's
Jessica Rabbit with dark hair and a dark dress who runs a jazz club.
She's Jessica Rabbit mixed with Rod Serling,
Yeah.
Because she smokes a lot.
Yeah. So this episode starts with like, I don't know, everybody's all scared of like getting sick and viruses. And then we see this fucking blimp that says Alternaceuticals, which is the ATC Corporation. And then we go to a freak show, like a real serious carnival style freak show.
Mm-hmm.
Except one of the guys is a human duck hybrid.
This guy's pretty cool.
He's pretty cool. He's like
one guy has no bones. That's neat.
He's like if David Cronenberg was going to make a Howard the Duck movie.
Yeah.
He is clearly horny.
He still kind of has the Daffy voice.
He is clearly horny. His beak has human teeth. It does. It's weird. And so, okay, so
there's also Siamese conjoined twins.
There's also
Siamese is probably not the word I should use. There's conjoined twins.
It actually took me when I was watching the episode. I was like, wait, what do we call? Oh, conjoined. That's what we call them now. I like had to pause and think about it for a moment. Yes, they are conjoined twins. Somebody without bones. Yeah, it's a freak show. Classic freak show bullshit. Everybody being exploited. So the duck guy goes to Raven's Club, the Roost, and he's sick. And
I think what happens is
she makes him sick.
She makes him sick. Yeah.
So
because Raven is doing a very long
song
and dance number,
and also okay, if there's one thing I would expect Michelle Phillips to do okay at, it would be recording singing.
Yeah.
They did not, it is not good singing that she's doing for this. I don't know what the fuck.
I didn't hate it. I mean, it's not like, it's definitely like one take, but
yeah, one take. So yeah, she kisses the duck guy on the face.
But the dudes in the club are losing their mind, man. They're like sweating profusely, and which is why it's not. She kisses the duck guy, and then he starts sweating, and so it's like, oh, he's just horny, like all these other guys. So many people are horny for this chick, and it's like a younger version of Raven, too. But then he starts puking and stuff.
Yeah, so he gets sick. Then the club gets locked down by fat stormtroopers. I mean,
yeah, something like that.
And
actual Nazis once their suits come off.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, they look like very fat Star Wars stormtroopers. Then they one of them presses a button or something, and his suit disappears as though it were a hologram, and it's like a Nazi uniform. So these guys all work for ATC, and they're trying to track down this contagion. Since the duck guy was sick, he gets killed, and then the freak show gets bombed.
Really, this episode really made me want to watch Duckman. By the way,
yeah, I could see that. Flan. I love flan.
It's classic Duckman joke.
And I do love flan.
Duckman is something you don't hear about.
Nope.
Anymore.
Wait, isn't that an adults only cartoon show?
Yeah, it was. And I thought that was the funniest shit ever when I was 17 years old, and I wonder if it holds up.
Okay, Duckman was 1994. All right.
So wherever I read that this is the first adults
absolute
only
bullshit nonsense.
Bullshit. Yeah. Duckman was definitely an adult cartoon. He was a badly behaved duck.
Yeah. He enjoyed breasts.
Yeah, yes, he did. Jason Alexander as a cartoon duck. Check it out if you haven't. Actually, maybe don't. I don't know. It probably doesn't hold up.
It's probably rough. Probably pretty fucking rough sledding. Oh yeah, Dweezil was his son. Dweezil Zappa. Oh my god, look at this fucking list of voices. Jesus.
Are we pivoting to a Duckman episode?
I don't know. Maybe we should. Okay, so it turns out that with some help from this big guy named Bird, Raven finds out that she's the product of a fucking genetic government experiment, and she's carrying this virus. And
Elizabeth Daily. Sorry, I'm
Yeah, and everybody's going to get sick and die, or maybe not, and it's all part of a plot by the pharmaceutical company to eliminate mutants and do a eugenics on everybody. So this guy helps her and the conjoined twins who barely escaped the freak show bombing.
They were actually attempting some cyberpunk themes in this,
they were,
which I appreciate.
They go to the ATC headquarters because they're like Raven's starting to get sick now. And they break into Elon Musk's monkey torture chamber and start getting cured. And then like the other founder of the pharmaceutical corporation comes in and gives a very evil cyberpunk villain speech or healthcare CEO speech about how, it's much more profitable to, sell a slow cure or, sell a slow treatment for the disease than it is a fast cure.
Yeah,
and we have to eliminate the mutants because they're dirt people, whatever.
Standard Nazi capitalist shit.
So then Raven and the twins get cured by flying into a jet engine on a robot stretcher. And then they do a bunch of shooting robots. And the good guy named Bird and the bad guy die, and everything's okay. We've halted the disease breakout. I don't know. And that's the end of the episode, basically. And although I'm giving it short shrift, this is like the second best episode. Like it's attempting a little bit of something. And again, if they had professional fucking TV writers, they could have done this better.
I would say it's, sorry about that, probably my first. I probably liked it a little bit more than the episode one. Mm-hmm. There was, it's kind of held back by its goofiness sometimes. Yeah. Like there's a scene where they bomb like the mutant like ghetto basically. Yeah. And there's this weird dog boy licking a bone like a lollipop. Just, I don't know. It's that goofiness kind of holds it back from its serious concept that I think it's going for. Yeah. And perhaps if this was a movie, the mutants wouldn't be Duckmen and Dog Boys and conjoined twins and boneless boys. And they'd actually like make them like, Total Recall mutants and they could actually tell us a story about eugenics and corporate control over medicine and all that stuff. But they don't really do that. Yeah. Because they have 20 minutes.
Yeah. This is definitely another one where, kind of like the one with the Jack Palance character. Like, had they blown this out to even like 35 minutes, like they could have achieved a better balance.
Yeah. And it's HBO. Like they could do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
They weren't constrained by commercials and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why these episodes were fucking 22 minutes long. That's a deeply strange thing.
It doesn't make any sense. Anyway. Every single one of them, except for episode 2, felt like it needed more context.
Everything either needed more or less. You need to cut out a side plot to increase the amount of time for the main plot, or add another 5 minutes. Yeah.
Now, so we don't sell it too short, what did you like about the show overall?
I think, like, I don't know. It's tough. Like, this one is kind of difficult for me to equate to anything, because so much of this show is clearly Ralph Bakshi's interest in 1940s and 50s America.
And boobs.
Like bleeding into, and then like somebody, his son, I assume, probably goes, well, why don't we make this guy have a robot arm? And there we are.
Cyberpunk's really popular right now. See that Johnny Mnemonic movie?
Yeah.
Blew up the box office.
Yeah, it really did. So a lot of this, I'm sitting there going like, yeah, I've seen this plot on half a dozen early 50s fucking C film noir movies, you know? And like, I don't know. It's really tough. I did like the first episode. The first episode, I think, is the best version of what this show can be in terms of like, you are actually using animation really well.
Yeah, was that the scale that that all the episodes needed to be, basically?
Yeah. And the rest of it, like, you know, every episode would have, I guess, what I'd call an animation, you know, at least a couple of animation gags where, you know, somebody bounces boing head first off a pavement or something. But like, for the most part, the show didn't need, other than those things and that first episode, there's no guiding reason for the show to be animation, as opposed to, say, Aeon Flux, where like, I don't care how,
which also came out before this. What the fuck? What is that thing claiming that I read?
What a lie. Yeah, the Max was before this, for God's sake. Like, say, Aeon Flux. Inherent to Aeon Flux is the art and design of it.
Yes.
Where,
as we know when we tried to watch the movie.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just literally took a couple of Aeon Flux scripts and threw Charlize Theron at them, like, you would still not have an Aeon Flux movie, even if they didn't like fuck up the plot.
Yeah.
It's still like,
no, I get the best version
yeah,
of a live action Aeon Flux movie is still just going to be missing something.
Yeah, it is. It's impossible to, you know, it's impossible to separate from the medium. This one, I think it's way too easy to separate from the medium.
Yeah.
And
in fact, some of them I kind of wish, I feel like they'd be better.
Yeah, I really think that final episode would have worked better in, like, you know, fucking actors. And the third episode.
Actors with duck bill prosthetics.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, this show is not, it's not unwatchably bad. There are, every episode has some shit that doesn't work in it, but it's also like, none of them are good enough that I feel really strongly about recommending it. Like,
yeah,
you know, watch the first episode, the third episode, and then the last one. You've got a tight 60 minutes of content, and you've gotten everything worthwhile out of it.
And you missed the really racist episodes if you do that too.
Yeah.
I was hoping for more. Honestly, I'd read some reviews about it, that it was kind of an under appreciated gem, and I was like, it came out right in that sweet spot of a time period.
I wish
Ralph
it had
actually
been.
Has a pretty good reputation overall, so I expected more, and at least it wasn't like, it's kind of the worst type of shit we have to cover on here.
Yeah,
it's not bad enough for us to hate it that much.
Yeah,
and it's not good enough to have anything to talk about either. So it's just kind of like, this is a thing we watched.
Yeah,
it's fine. Thank God it was a heavy dystopia week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really just like, and one of the things that, as I was watching the show, I kept getting these flashes of, oh wait, I've seen this. And I truly believe I might have watched every episode of the show, you know,
just
roughly when it aired, but it's not good enough to occupy the right amount of space in my brain. Like, to, you know, to be memorable. Like, it's, even the good stuff is like high-end fine.
High-end fine. Yeah.
Like,
question number 2, can you jerk off to it?
I mean, okay, if I was 14, I probably
when it
could've.
Came out, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have been able to by that point, but
just the novelty of cartoon
now.
nudity.
Yeah.
It wasn't that common back then. That probably would have been enough for me. Let's be honest. I was not having discerning taste at the tender age of 17, 16. Yeah, it's not even that subversively sexual. It's just,
it's
a lot of like weird groping and boobs, and it's kind of like, not saying they should do more, but it's Spicy City. It's not Titty City.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever.
It's whatever.
Like, I liked some parts of it, but they don't outweigh the parts that I don't like.
Let's rate it.
Okay, fine.
Story.
Ugh.
Hey, it's 5 different stories. One of them
6.
drags the average way down, and
It's 6.
I was going to say 5.
Oh, are we just pretending Roman hands and Russian fingers doesn't exist now? We just drop the bottom. We just drop the lowest.
I just
Yeah. I would say probably 5. Low points are real low.
Roman hands and Russian fingers.
The low points are real low, and the high point. Actually, I'm going to go 4. The high points are like get to be okay, but they're stolen from better stuff.
You're right. I'm lowering mine.
I mean,
you're right.
Only
five's
one of the 6 episodes is unwatchably fucking bad.
Yeah, but that does drag the average down because only 2 of them are better than nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you've got your baseline where you're completely unchanged from watching it. 2 of them barely come above that baseline. One of them's way below it. So I don't know. And the other 2,
3.5. 3.5.
I'm gonna stay at 4, but you can go. Actually, I'm out of room, so you're staying at 4.
Okay, fine.
Actually, I'll change it. I feel like I need to put this on a spreadsheet at some point. Influence. I think this ripped off a lot more than it ever influenced. Although,
counterpoint. This was the very first adult animated program.
Fuck off. Wish I'd never said that.
We owe this for Scavenger's Reign.
Oh yeah, definitely. Family Guy.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell came out before this.
No,
Ghost in the Shell standalone complex though.
This is the first adult animated thing.
Oh right. Oh man, I don't think it has.
I am gonna give it a solid.
I can't
1.5.
I can't justify giving anything above 1.
What does it mean? Like, yeah, it's like a.
I mean, it's an adult cartoon.
Yeah, okay.
They were rare in America in 1997.
Even more so ones with cyberpunk aesthetics.
Definitely with cyberpunk aesthetics.
But
maybe it'll get it to 2. I'm gonna give it a 2. I'm gonna be very generous.
All right,
and give it a 2.
I'm gonna stick with 1.5.
All right, fair. Prescience. How well did it predict our future through its various little? The last one. I mean, obviously, there's a reason that pharmaceutical companies selling cures or selling treatments rather than cures is such a common thread in cyberpunk stories because we're living it.
Yeah, pharmaceutical companies bad. I know that I personally know that there's been a huge resurgence in extremely famous bongo players.
Fuck that. He was they could have made him a guitarist. You need hands for guitar. Guitar is cool. Why did they make him a bongo player?
Because he wouldn't have that Latin fire.
There's mariachi. There's fucking Latin guitar players.
No, that's impossible.
There's a fucking movie about a guy who plays it's called El Mariachi.
This obviously influenced El Mariachi.
Yes, obviously. Once again, I think I was like almost on board when they were talking about like sex workers being pushed out of the market by AI.
There were like 3 sentences worth of, hey, cool idea. Let's explore nope, we're gone.
The Love Online thing, that was new at the time, but it became like that's the primary way people meet now.
Yeah.
So I think we can actually give this I think a 6 is fair. It predicted a few things pretty well, even though it was just stealing the tropes.
I think that's yeah. I think if we go any lower than that, we have to like mark down some of the other things that we've done. So yeah.
Style. It has its own style. It's Ralph Bakshi.
It has a little bit of a style. It's not. I don't know.
I've never been particularly like enthused by his art style. Anyway, like I liked The Hobbit when I was a kid, but I did think the rotoscoping was weird and creepy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think I'm not enough of an animation guy. Like, I'm sure there are tons of fucking animation people out there who know
Should really get some on the show for stuff like this.
Yeah, who could really get into it. I consider most of what this show appeared to be as kind of standard 20th century American animation.
Yeah, and some of it felt like pretty cheaply done. Like,
it's not, like I said, this ain't fucking Eon Flux in terms of art.
right.
So I don't know.
Just because it has a style doesn't mean it's a good
Yeah.
style. I guess I'll stick it at a 5. Like,
I'll say 4. I mean, yeah, they're like the main thing, like the main recurring image is Jessica Rabbit, but with black hair and a black dress.
yeah.
Like,
The one that always pops into my head for some reason is the big fat guy in episode 1 with the little cybernetic arm. Like, that had legs. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I liked his little cyber arm that he lost in the war. He seemed like they were going somewhere, and then they just went fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
1 to 5 hand raisers. What do we think?
I
mean, I guess it's got 6 episodes. We can't just give it a number of fingers for a number of episodes we liked.
I don't know. I guess I'll give it 2.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, if you're real interested in animation and cyberpunk, sure, give it a fucking shot. I don't see a lot there. But if it's
your 2 hours are better spent elsewhere, let's be honest.
You'd be much better served by watching episode 1, 3, and 6 and calling it a fucking day.
Watch 1. You could skip 3.
Yeah,
you has some interesting stuff, but
it has some cool stuff, but it's not the most. Yeah,
watch 1 and 6, and then go watch Ghost in the Shell. That's about the same amount of time, and you'll have watched Ghost in the Shell again, which is always makes your life better.
Yeah, no shit. Oh shit, that reminds me of a fucking recommendo. I'm really sorry. I do have to get this in on the Dropout. I don't know. I guess that sort of counts as a channel streaming service thing.
Yeah.
I watched a comedy special entitled Chris Grace as Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, boy.
Chris Grace is a Chinese-American comedian and actor. And this show is about how he is a big Scarlett Johansson fan. And in reaction and partially a reaction to the Ghost in the Shell live action movie that Scarlett Johansson was in. It is a really good, very effective special about kind of about how stereotypes and how if we're an actor, we can just rise above it. And it gets extraordinarily meta.
Oh, interesting.
We get, by the end of the hour-long special, you get about like 10 layers deep, and you cannot remember where you are in terms of reality. Is it Chris Grace as Scarlett Johansson as Chris Grace as Scarlett Johansson? Or is it Chris Grace as Scarlett Johansson as Chris Grace as Scarlett Johansson as Chris Grace?
I like the sound of that. That sounds
these are notably different characters.
Yeah.
Strongly recommend that show. Sorry.
I need to get Dropout. I've been meaning to for ages.
Yeah, the live action Ghost in the Shell thing reminded me.
Yeah. Which we could have easily picked for next week, but we didn't.
Well, we have to get Jeff back on for that one.
Yeah, that's true.
We promised him. It's his favorite movie.
Forward to it. Oh, let's talk about what we are doing next week. We're
going to cover the most cyberpunk movie we have ever covered, the most cyberpunk piece of media we have ever
even
covered.
More cyberpunk than The Thing.
Yeah, more cyberpunk than The Thing, more cyberpunk than Snow Crash, more cyberpunk than Neuromancer. It is. You want to say it?
No, I want you to say it.
It is in the movie Gremlins 2.
Yeah, it's a Christmas. This is probably going to be our last episode this year. I'm taking a trip, and then Christmas is happening, and it's going to be very difficult to get an episode recorded again before, like, we'll get one recorded by the end of the year, but it's going to probably be the one that releases on New Year's Day. So
yeah, maybe, hopefully we could, schedule something light in terms of like, hey, we just record a commentary. So hopefully we get a Patreon commentary out or something.
yeah, I would like to get one more Patreon thing by the end of the year.
Because those are easy in terms of we don't have to dick with them.
Yeah, and I can release them whenever. We don't have to. We could do it on a Friday and release it on a Saturday. There's no schedule. So
anyway, we're gonna watch fucking Gremlins 2. It's gonna be great.
It is cyberpunk.
It is cyberpunk.
It's anti-corporate, and there's a fucking AI gremlin in the machine. So we're counting it.
And the Hulkster.
And the Hulk. Hulkster's not as cool as he used to be.
Yes. And we'll get to, I don't know, close out our Key and Peele Gremlins 2 sketch bit that's been running for 5 years.
You'll have to go back to them Terrys bit.
Them Terrys. I said.
I mean, we did the thing, and it had a pretty good response. People like the thing, and we did Hardwired. That's the most cyberpunk shit we've done all year. So I feel like we get a little break.
Yeah, I
cyberpunk light.
Yeah, So we are excited to talk about Brainy Gremlin, Vegetable Gremlin, Gargoyle Gremlin, Spider Gremlin, Electric Gremlin, and of course,
Lady
Sexy Gremlin.
Yeah, the fuckable Gremlin.
Yeah.
I feel like you left some out. Nobody ever mentions them, but like there's the super dumb gremlin, and then like his boss.
Oh yes.
I don't even know what you call them.
Yeah. It's gonna be great,
guys. We fucking love Gremlins.
Yeah.
And fuck you if you don't.
I have not seen Gremlins 2 in decades. I am so excited.
I watched it not long ago and had a great time. So
I bet. Fuck.
All right. Gremlins 2, very cyberpunk, next week. Until then, I want to remind everybody to go stream Status Quo Radio by Sean Faust.
Yes, thank you for remembering that. Jesus.
It's a good song. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He uses a lot of his money he gets from music making to help cats, and cats are fucking cool. So
yeah, he is a great guy. We love Sean to death.
We do. Well, not to death. I would like him to keep living.
Okay, yeah, that seems good. Yeah.
We love him to like 3rd-degree burns. Is that good?
Honestly,
he's still alive. He's in tremendous pain because of our love.
And he can't get touched by people.
No.
Because of the
alive.
risk of infection. But he is alive.
So, yeah. We love you, Sean. And also, I want to plug some of our shit. Because for first time ever, we're not like super over time, and I'm not rushing to get out of here.
Yeah, no shit.
We have a Patreon, patreon.com/hightechlowlife. You can spend a few dollars, listen to some of our back catalog where we do movie commentaries usually. And hopefully we'll have one out again this year or the first of next year, depending on how busy we get.
Yep.
Please check that out if you're into it. We also have an email. You can email. Oh, that's the last. God.
Oh, God damn it. Yes, we do. And it's one that, God damn it, that would have taken up the same amount of time had we not done all the dystopia shit.
We'll save it for next week.
Yeah.
We'll save it for the Gremlins episode.
Yeah.
We got a really good email we want to talk about. We'll talk about it next week. But you can send us one at hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at Johnny60seconds, but honestly, I'm just pretty much promoting there. I'm not really interacting. So if you really want to interact with us on social media, come on over to Bluesky.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I removed Twitter from my main screen and replaced it with Bluesky. So I stopped doing the reactive. I pick up my phone and go, what's going on Twitter? The Bluesky button is now in that place. So,
Same.
And it's a much better experience.
It's so much better. And like I thought about, should I delete my Twitter? Like, no, I don't want. I want to sit on the name and just have it be another dead account among millions and millions of dead accounts.
Yeah.
It's Zombie Town over there.
Yeah.
That said, I do promote the episode on it because there's still a lot of people on Twitter and I want them to find us.
Yep. Yep.
But Bluesky, we are, I believe it's High Tech Low Life at
yes.
bsky.social. And then Josh has, what's yours?
I think mine is Count Zero with a 0. Well, it's COUNTXER 0. How about that?
Right. Yeah. And then I'm also the Frog with a 0.
Because we are elite hacksaws.
Yeah, we grew up in the 90s on the internet.
Yeah.
And we are elite.
We are.
Anything else?
Very finally, if I don't think we need to go over it hugely again. If you want to join the Discord that we have talked about many times in the past, we now have our own goddamn channel in that Discord.
Oh yeah, Jeff made us a High Tech Low Life channel in the Astronomica Discord.
So we can stop infecting the rest of the Astronomica.
Actually, he specifically encouraged us to continue doing that.
But we at least have the option to not.
Yeah. You can find the link, a permanent link to that, on astronomicapodcast.com.
Yes, that is correct.
So if you want to, if you are insistent on talking to us on Discord, we're in the Astronomica Discord, and we're both pretty chatty.
Yeah.
I don't know why we've never started our own. Just don't feel like it.
I don't know. I guess it seemed like it's just going to be embarrassing because we'll only have like 2 people in there.
But then people keep showing up on the Astronomica Discord.
I don't know. I think we have incorrect assumptions about what people actually like. I mean, which makes sense because we have been doing this for 10 years almost. And in my mind, it's still me talking to you and then subsequently 5 other people.
Yeah. There's actually like
there are more. Yeah. There are more than that. Possibly as many as a dozen.
Yeah. Well, don't get cocky, kid.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We have a channel over there. You can talk about the episodes.
Yes. I'm going to drop a quote and then let's get the hell out of this episode. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Live by the dick, die by the dick.
Perfect.
That's from episode 4. That's stupid. Bye.
Bye.
This has been the High Tech Low Life podcast. Find us on Twitter at Johnny60seconds, email us at hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com, and find us on Patreon at patreon.com/hightechlowlife. Theme music by Nihilor at nihilor.com. Thank you for listening.
Keep it moving. Come on, what are you waiting on? Let's go. They're trashing our rights, man. They're trashing the fluid data. They're trashing. Everybody, hide the planet. Shut up and get in the car.